All right, so I'm going to get going on a little run through here of the tune I've got on the Spector RS. It's kind of my drift tune. I do it on sport tires. I played with the semi-slicks for a while, but I didn't like it. So I went back to the sports, just a little bit better fit for what I do. The tune I've got obviously all the way out to a Pro Drift 3. I have this own little setting here. You can look it up, Quick Drift. We'll go into the settings here so I can give you guys a rundown of what's going on. So spring size, you can see I've got a decent amount of height here. I went for a good quality of ride over just the stance and look and all that. But see my stiffness there. I always stiffen the front sway bar all the way up on these so that um, it seems to work better for, maybe it's just my style of drifting, but I'm not sure. A little bit of toe, camber. I usually go anywhere between -4 and 5 degrees. I max out the caster, and then my Ackerman typically is somewhere between 50 and 70%. I usually just test it out and see if the front end is kind of grabbing too much, and then it'll spin my car out. Then I need to bring that Ackerman angle back a little bit. But if you increase it, it'll kind of almost let you spin all the way out if you don't have it set quite right. Tightening, quick tightening, retraction there as well is pretty low. Jump to the rear, we've got all the quick retraction, slow, normal retraction, tightening is pretty low. I always go -1 on the wheel camber. It's always worked best for me. The wheel toe, a little bit of toe there as well. I do almost no sway bar in the rear. I think that it gives me better grip around the tracks. And then my spring size and stiffness there. 19-inch wheels, 265s at 200 pressure. And then the rear wheels, I usually try to match that up so it's like a square setup. Typically it works best for me. I've tried to run wider in the rear, but it doesn't seem to work, kind of washes out. Rev limiter, we went all the way up to 9,000, got all that maxed out, so I got the most horsepower at about 745. The diffs, I typically lock around the 60% range, or 0.6, I guess I should say. Sometimes I go up to 70, 75, but once you get up past that, it seems like it gets difficult to control the vehicle. And then I usually do something in the gear ratio of between high 390 to 440, 450. You see my gearing all separated there. And then I go down here usually and adjust fourth and fifth gear because I'm typically running in most of those gears, and I want to just barely avoid the limiter in gear 5, but still let me have the speed and control. And if I let off throttle, I want to be able to get back on pretty quickly. Brakes you see there. I don't do the front axis width much or rear because I think that most of these cars run the best just straight up. So anyways, we'll do a quick run through here and you will see, hopefully my audio is working here. Got a little wonky there. I was trying to change my audio. Okay, so I can get into fourth gear. I can drift there. Little handbrake pull. Fifth gear C is kind of not quite at the limiter, and then once I straighten out a little bit more, it kind of gets close to there. But it has a nice little drift. I'm not really running a great line here, but you get the idea. So I think you guys should try this little setup out, see how it works for you. I barely have to usually steer into the corner a little bit just to keep it from spinning totally, but here on this next corner, I'll show you what happens if I flick it in and I just don't even touch the steering and let it go. It comes a little short, but it's really easy to control with the left and right once you're in the roll. So there's that. Here's your, oh, just going to slip off the grass there, but that's your final little review on the way that I tune the Spector RS in this game. It's worked out really well for me, and won a handful of those championships driving with this car. Obviously, when you have faster cars that you're chasing, you can still switch to the semi-slick tire, but then I typically max out at around fourth gear because on the sports, I'm riding limiter in fourth gear, and on the super slick, I am typically can get to the limiter, but it's much more difficult. So that's my run through. If you guys have any questions or want to see any other cars, please let me know, and I'd be happy to do it. Thank you.